Hi guys, I'm trying to do this the Ricky Gervais style with a beer. It's most likely going to be less funny, but just equal amounts of beer. So as Mon said, my name is Sebastian. I've been with SimpleSite for around 10 years now. I have 25 years experience in sale. Before SimpleSite, I competed with Klaus at UB, where I was for 10 years too. And before that, I was at a newspaper. So a little bit about SimpleSite. I don't know how much you know about our product, but basically it's a website builder. It's very easy. Our main ambition is to make it as easy as your mother could make a website there. If you can use a computer, you can use a phone or a tablet, you can make a website at SimpleSite. We actually date back quite long. The service was launched in 2003 as 123 hjemmeside, obviously in Denmark. We ran the model which was pretty common at that point, so you tried it for free for 30 days, and after the 30 days you either converted to premium or you buggered off. And that model we worked for quite many years. We actually just shifted it in 2015. Where we went to the freemium setup, and there's a lot of good reasons for that. The largest one, obviously, is not to get rid of all those trials. We make between 400 and 500,000 trials every month. So instead of just saying hasta la vista to those guys, we keep them and we try to do CRM and urge them to upgrade to premium. Yeah, this graphics obviously applies both mostly to stock trading, but it kind of also illustrates the philosophy we're trying to do at SimpleSite. We don't really mind buying customers at a high price. We don't really mind selling low volumes of sales. We just don't like the combination of those two. We run up a self-fueled marketing budget. So we don't have IPO behind us. We don't have seed investment or anything. So the money I can spend is the money we make from premium subscriptions. And that needs us to be extremely data-driven. We have to focus to the extreme on return on investment. So basically, we don't really do anything we cannot measure. So if we cannot measure it, I guess I have to be fast. I'm the only thing standing between you guys and free pizza, so I'll speed it up. Okay, we got the power back on. Okay. So when we launched our product as 123 hjemmeside, obviously that name suited us best for Denmark. So the strategy was also kind of what Klaus said, partner model with a strong focus on white labeling. So we approached a lot of medias like Berlingske and UB and NetDoctor and large Danish medias, and urged them to sell our product but white labeled as their own. And there's a lot of good benefits from that in terms of the affiliates point of view, because we can get them to do much more. They promote it editorially, they build in links. If we just approach them with an affiliate setup, they would just put maybe some banners on, and after a week or two they say, oh, it doesn't work. But the best way to sell stuff like a website builder is to do it editorial, content, promotion, and so forth. We did banners too. We did a lot of email advertising, and we started out with some search engine marketing, AdWords. And when we launched in an English version, we also launched a Swedish and a Norwegian version. It became apparent that AdWords were the way of the future for us, because it's hard to maintain relationship with maybe 40, 50, 100 partners in one country and then add 4 more countries. That would require a pretty large staff, and we were, I think, 5 people at that point. So I think when we launched those countries, we realized that AdWords were the way we had to move forward. So that's what we're doing today. We are using search engines the ones that are available for advertising AdWords with Google and Bing, who serves ads on MSN and Yahoo. Yandex, which is a Russian search engine. Baidu, which is a Chinese one. And whatever we can find of search engines that puts on ads. Besides that, we also do a lot of Facebook, like Kristeligt Dagblad. We are strong with affiliate now, and we want to do SEO better than we are doing now. It's a thing we're going to do in the future. An important thing, of course, to do online advertising on the scale we're doing is we have to know the math very well. So the first thing we have to determine is the lifetime value of our customers. And of course, obviously the delivery cost, but those are usually pretty hard to come by, easy to come by. Another thing about the LTVs is that they usually vary quite a lot from channel to channel, from market to market. So it's also important to identify the differentiations from the lifetime values from the different sources you have of advertising. Customer acquisition price is pretty hard. Pretty easy to come by. You just have to know the number of your ad spend and divide it with the number of customers. But you can also determine a CAC by saying, I want to have a customer acquisition price of, say, 200 kroners. And try to reach there by optimization, or to be more adjustful to the profit margin in the way you're calculating. So, for instance, in some markets you have a very large market, like the US, for instance. There you could be more kind of liberal with your profit margin, because just if you squeeze a bit, you get a lot of more customers. Whereas in say, Luxembourg, for instance, it doesn't really matter if you bid twice as high or anything, you'll probably get the same 2 customers. So that's a pretty important equation for this setup. It says execute here, but this is actually the way we're working. The way we regard markets is if they speak our language, or the language we support, if we can take the money, we can sell to them. The question is the level of sales we can do. We are running ads in every country in the world, except Cuba and Sudan and North Korea. Yeah, I think one more. Oh yeah, Syria is that's not a big market right now. And obviously, not Burkina Faso is not one of our largest markets. But if we can get 2 sales or 5 sales there each month, it's 2 or 5 sales. And if the customer acquisition price and the lifetime value matches up, it's good money. So if you can just copy the Google campaign to Burkina Faso and specialize maybe the ads, it's good business if you don't use too much time on it. As I said prior, we only do stuff we can measure, and that leaves out for us, for instance, TV advertising, radio, print, and all those other old-fashioned ways of marketing. I'm not saying that especially TV is not a good media for us. It probably would be, but first of all, we don't really have the capital to do global TV campaigns, and at the other hand, we kind of are born into a data-driven mind, and you have to be a little bit a believer to accept all the data TV are giving you in return of evaluating a campaign. And then optimize, we do that all the time. That's the core thing we are doing in my department. Optimize the campaigns, adjusting bids, better ads, and so forth. This is just to illustrate the road we have moved from. If you take back in 2012, we actually just almost just got our sales and trials from Google and Bing. But the later years, actually, we have managed, partly due to a larger team, to spread out the risk. So right now, we actually see pretty nice business from Facebook, and we see good business from Yandex, and even Baidu is starting to move. And affiliate is also growing to be a huge market. This other, that represents the partnerships. That was the key thing when we started. So other's not what it used to be. Some fails and lessons. advertising on search engines are excellent for us. And it also comes down to the fact that when people want a website, they're pretty hard to determine in terms of demographic profile. It's not like men or women or young, old, or situation. Everybody can be interested in a website, and unfortunately a lot more are not interested in a website. So search is very good, because when people make a search for free website or how do I do a blog or something like that, well, then the market for the product we have. So that's just why it works for us. Facebook was kind of a struggle. It used to work a couple of years ago, then it didn't really work, but we cracked the code again in early last year, and it's a huge part of our acquisition today, as well as affiliate, which were kind of a sleeping beauty for many years, but with more staff and with better focus, we actually have grown that, almost doubled it each quarter for the last couple of quarters. So if we can just continue that for 10 more quarters, then it's going to be pretty good. Something that's not working as well would be SEO. It's kind of enfant terrible at SimpleSite. We really have invested a lot of time and resources, and we really suck at SEO. So that's not so good. We plan to do yet another go at one point, but and we can see all our competitors. I mean, Wix, our biggest competitor, from our research, we can find that they have something like 50 people working with SEO, and we have an intern working with SEO. So we are not really on level there. Banners. We'd love to make banners work. I mean, it's the hugest source of inventory online advertising has to offer on the internet. Unfortunately, it doesn't really work for us. We try every half year to make it work, but as I mentioned before, it's very hard to catch people at the right point with the banner. And last partnerships, we had to shut those down, or at least suspend them until we find some way more efficient to run our partnerships globally. Oh yeah, the team. Yours truly is a kind of a playing coach in the team, and I have a Batman Robin to the Batman here, Santi, sitting down here, and we have 4 interns. Actually, they're all coming from CBS. It's not like we have that as demand, but they kind of fits the description pretty good. And we pay the interns. Do that, you get the better interns if you pay them. Yeah. Oh yeah, some key takeaways from this. As I said, you can sell from, well, anyway, in our experience, you can sell on all markets, on all channels to a certain degree. So the question is how much you can do it. As long as you reach your target price, you can usually almost, anyway on search, in our case, you can always find a level that actually is good business for you. So don't neglect that. I mean, why not have good customers, even though it's in small amounts, but if you're in 200 countries, that sums up. Know your customer acquisition price and try to box your lifetime values. Try to identify whether it's men, women, old, young, what kind of product it gives you the best lifetime value. There's always differentiations in all companies. And optimize. That's what we do all the time. And then when we're done with that, we'll start all over again. And as a bonus, oh yeah, I didn't go a lot into that. One thing we have learned and are helping us do all that global advertising is that we currently only support 19 languages in our platform. But we actually does advertising in 48 countries. And the trick is just to translate the ads and the onboarding situation. And after they finalize the start wizard, we just throw them into the English one. And of course, in some markets, the French market, they really hate that. but some you cannot do that everywhere. But most of the places, they have invested just enough of their resources to do the trial. So, oh, what the heck, it's in English, I do understand that. So that actually makes pretty good business for us. For instance, we did Arab before we had the Arab version, and we got around 100 sales per month, just advertising Arabs and then throwing them into the English version. So you don't necessarily have to do a full language translation of your product in order to advertise in a market. But it's strongly recommended in our experience to do the onboarding and do the advertising in the local tongue. Anyway, that's what works for us. Yep, that's it for me.